You don't throw a kid fresh out of med school into an open-heart surgery. You call the white-haired veteran who's done it 1,000 times with the season on the line and never once let his hand shake. And right now, the Montreal Canadiens offense is at patient in the ICU, monitors screaming, needing exactly that kind of steel nerve surgeon at center ice. Somewhere between the Crosby dream collapsing and the trade freeze lifting, something important clicked for Ken Hughes. The fantasy phase is over. The rescue phase has begun. And the name at the very top of the Habs operating table today is the battering ram of the Nashville Predators, Ryan O'Reilly. This isn't a sexy future of the franchise move. This is a win a series right now move. O'Reilly is 35, but his engine is closer to a military tank than a vintage car. 56 points on the year. A demon in the face-off circle. The guy you sent over the boards when the season is hanging on a defensive zone draw with 14 seconds left. And somehow, because of how violently Nashville's experiment exploded in their face, he's not being priced like an untouchable superstar. He's sitting there at a $4.5 million cap hit, under contract through 2027, on a team that suddenly has to listen to calls. So let's cut this open properly. The Barry Trotz project in Nashville was a textbook case of trying to hack the system. Lose Gaudreau/Kachuk style talent? Fine, just throw money at aging names and hope the logo will carry the rest. They tried to build a highlight reel roster instead of a functioning one. It was a buy a super team in July, play in a league that punishes shortcuts. The NHL's karma came hard. The chemistry never ignited. The lineup felt bolted together, and what was supposed to be a veteran powerhouse drifted into that worst of all zones. Too old to rebuild easily, too flawed to truly contend. When that happens, the laws of the cap era kick in. You don't get to keep your perfect soldiers. Even the ones still doing their jobs have to be turned into picks and prospects. And that's where Montreal's opportunity lives. Because in a league where GMs are begging for reliable centers, O'Reilly checks nearly every box a serious playoff team wants. He wins draws. Not nice percentage for a middle six guy wins. He dominates them. Defensive zone, power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5 against the other team's best. You bring him in and Suzuki instantly stops carrying 90% of the we need this puck moments by himself. He plays that rare, true 200-foot game. We throw that cliche around a lot, but with O'Reilly it's literal. Back pressure, stick detail, body positioning in the slot. He's a coach's safety blanket. You can shape your matchups around him. He still produces. 56 points at 35 is not veteran filler. It's top six offense. On a Predators team that's been a mess structurally, he's been the adult in the room holding the thing together. And he's wired for May, not October. We've seen what he becomes in the playoffs. St. Louis doesn't lift that cup without him. The Conn Smythe wasn't a fluke. He thrives when the ice gets small and every mistake is fatal. So why would Nashville let that walk? Because they don't really have a choice. The pot of stars they tried to cook curdled. They bought the names. They never found the soul. And the cap doesn't allow you to fix that by tacking on more money. You have to go backwards before you go forwards. O'Reilly is one of their cleanest, most movable high-value assets. Productive, respected, reasonably priced relative to his output, and still under contract. That's exactly the profile rebuilding teams turn into futures. Now spin that back to Montreal. The hole behind Nick Suzuki hasn't gone away just because the team is scoring more. In a playoff series, you are judged by your center spine. Do you have 4 lines you can roll, or 1.5? Do you have someone other than Suzuki who can take heavy minutes against top 6 opposition and not crack? Right now, the honest answer is, not really. Not at the level you need if you actually expect to win, not just gain experience. Put O'Reilly in that 2C slot, and suddenly the picture changes. You can imagine a playoff depth chart like this. First line, Suzuki driving the offense, freed up to take more offensive zone starts, playing with your most explosive wingers. Second line, O'Reilly as a stabilizer, taking whatever matchup Martinez to Lewis circles on the board that morning. McDavid, Point, Zibanejad, whoever. Third line, Danault. If we're keeping with this timeline, turning the bottom 6 into a clamp, giving you the kind of suffocating center depth that recent Cup winners like Vegas and Florida have weaponized. Fourth line, a hard-skating, Energy line centered by Jake Evans or a young pivot. That is not a cute up-and-coming group. That's a spine that can go into someone else's building in Game 7 and not look like tourists. Financially, for dollars, $5 million for that caliber player is not brutal. It's not a junior contract, but compared to what you see around the league, a 50-point center easily clearing $6 million, it's frankly efficient. The risk isn't really this year or next. It's 202627 when he's pushing 37, and you're hoping the decline curve hasn't gone vertical. But that's the nature of all veteran bets. What makes this one more palatable than someone like Kadri at $7 million is exactly that cap hit and exactly that style. O'Reilly's game was never built on blazing speed. It's built on reads, hands, angles, and pure repetition. Those skills age more gracefully than I win off the rush or I don't win at all. You're not asking him to be your first-line offensive engine at 37. You're asking him to still be smart, heavy, and trustworthy in the middle six. That feels far more realistic than banking on a purely offensive veteran to still beat kids wide in 3 years. Of course, there's a price in assets too. Nashville isn't gifting him away because they're embarrassed. They're going to ask for something real, a first-round pick, or a second-rounder plus a good prospect. Maybe they circle a young right-shot defenseman from our pipeline. And here's where the emotional part kicks in. Every pick you trade today is a player you don't draft tomorrow. Every prospect you move is a potential surprise story you never get to tell. When you're a fan base that's watched a rebuild actually start to bear fruit, it's natural to flinch at the idea of shipping out futures for anyone over 30. But this is a cold, hard question that keeps coming back. When do you stop only playing a long game and start playing the actual game in front of you? Because Nick Suzuki's prime has already started. Cole Caulfield's prime has already started. Slavkovsky's ramping up. Demidov is coming. You don't get 10 years of we're still growing with the same core. The NHL is cruel. Injuries happen. Cap spikes change the math. If you're always 2 years away, you eventually wake up and realize you missed your best window. O'Reilly is not a forever solution. He is a bridge. A brutal, playoff-tested, scarred bridge between the kids are learning and the kids are winning. The question is, do you think this team is close enough that a bridge actually gets you to the other side? If you believe the answer is yes, if you watch this group and see a team that could genuinely scare anyone with one more hardened veteran down the middle, then you pay the toll. You accept the risk on the back end of the contract. You swallow the cost of a pick and a prospect, and you take your shot. If, deep down, you think this team is still more than one piece away, that the defense, the goaltending, the overall consistency still need another season or two, then O'Reilly becomes more of a luxury than a necessity. You might win a round with him, maybe two, but at the cost of bullets you'd rather have when everyone hits 25 and 26 instead of 22 and 23. So here's where I hand you the scalpel. You're the GM. The Predators are on the line. The framework is simple. Ryan O'Reilly at $4.5 million, with 2 more years after this one, is available. Nashville want a first-round pick or a second-rounder and a solid young player. No 50% retention magic. No, we'll eat half. Just a clean hockey trade. Proven center now for potential later. Looking at the crater in our second-line center spot, do you slam the green button, own that cap hit until 2027, and walk into this postseason with a center spine that finally looks like something built for May? Or do you look at that birth certificate, feel the weight of every future piece you'd be giving up, and say, not yet, we ride with the kids and accept whatever they give us in April? There's no easy way out of that dilemma. It's not numbers on a cap site. It's a statement of intent about who the Montreal Canadiens want to be in the next 3 years. So I'm throwing it to you. Are you the GM who bets on Ryan O'Reilly and throws this young core into the deep end with a real shot at making noise? Or are you the GM who keeps every pick, keeps every prospect, and is willing to risk another year of nice progress and a quiet exit?